All right, y'all. Welcome to the HDI live stream. We are so excited to have you here. We are getting back in the right cadence, and it's been really fun getting to jump back in here. But as a reminder, I want to remind you we are sponsored, and Robert Half has been an incredible partner. Hopefully, you were all able to join last week when we got to actually talk to the Robert Half team. But if you are hiring, are looking to be hired, just curious about what's going on in the marketplace today, go visit Robert Half. They provide so much valuable information about what is happening in the industry, different salary rates, all kinds of things that can provide you with the guidance and the clarity that you need to really sort of understand and get the right people in the door, and also kind of more importantly, retain the right people. Are you going through the right onboarding? Do you have the right perks in place? So the link is right here above me, so do not hesitate to get up there, go visit them, and we cannot thank them enough for sponsoring us through this live stream. So again, link above, go visit Robert Half, and we are going to kick off our show. I am so excited. We have had so much great interaction with the Thirdera team. If you have watched before, we've had Sherry on before, and now we get to welcome Sandra to the HDI live stream. So Sandra, welcome to our live stream here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We are so excited. So before we get really started, we always like to learn a little bit about you, who you are, and how you got to where you are. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you come from, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I was actually born in Chicago, military brat, and graduated from National Louis University in Chicago with a master's in organizational psychology. And I really kind of found a passion for business process improvement, and have a bachelor's in business management, and started. I really been in every IT life cycle, or every role in IT. And I have 3 boys, 21, 18, and 14. So
men, you've got 3 men.
God that I get to, thank God I get to work from home, because I don't know what I'd do if I didn't. Just finding that work-life balance. But I'm always looking at self-improvement books and holding workshops, and just really all about business process improvement, but also improving myself as an individual. So that's the short version of who I am and what I'm all about. But I just kind of, within my role in IT, I just kind of worked my way through and started. My actual title is a business process consultant, and I work for Thirdera. And every IT organization that I've worked for, I've always found a passion for women in technology, and have always conducted workshops, and so here I am.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good segue into what we're talking about here, and that is, don't judge a job by its title. Don't get scared away by the title. So tell us a little bit about, because business consultant, those are 2 very scary words. Like, how did you fall into that role? What does it actually mean? And then we can talk a little bit about what other ways to approach titles. But let's start with your personal experience with finding the right role for you, and what that sort of, how you were able to get the courage or whatever to apply and get the job.
Yeah, so growing up, I always thought that I wanted to be a nurse, and I never in a million years thought that I would be in IT. And now when we thinking back of, if you were asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you think, oh, I want to be in IT. There's so many different things. When people think of IT, they're like, oh, so you're really smart, huh? And you have these conversations in passing, and they think that you're just someone who sits down at a computer and you're working at a computer all day long when you're working help desk tickets.
Yep.
Right. But if you peel back the layer of the onion and you like take a bigger look at what IT is now, it's grown so much over the years from what it was back when, the first Macintosh computer came out. So now it's like you've got hardware IT, you've got different branches of IT. So you've got software and cloud solutions, telecommunications, security, online shopping. They don't think of that as IT, but honestly, it is.
Yeah.
You think about all the back end work that goes into it. And so there's so many different branches and forms of IT now that people don't realize. So I fell into IT. My first job, I started, I'd done customer service. That was like the gateway. Customer service,
the good gateway drug.
Worked for Verizon Wireless, in a call center support. Yeah. Worked my way up into tech support. And they invested in my education, which is how I ended up at National Louis University. And then, I landed my job right after graduation for a company called AVI-SPL. And when I started working for AVI-SPL, I had a role as a technical support representative. Well, I applied for the job. I never thought I'd get a phone call because I'm like, yeah, I've done technical support, but it was on a smaller scale. I just, the only thing I could do was really just be honest about what my background was and what I've done in the past and, my education. When I looked at the job description, though, I had no idea about anything that was on that job description. But the truth was they really wanted someone who had customer service, who wasn't afraid to touch the equipment that was there, who really just had problem solving skills. And so when I was hired, I was the first female on their help desk. And then I just kind of started working my way through the different IT roles and then started acquiring all these different certifications in IT. And so now, as IT has evolved, now I'm finding myself in this business process role where I was writing, process work and standard operating procedures. And I really found my passion in the software side of it. Yeah. And that's how I kind of, long story short, ended up in the service now of my career, which I love because no day is ever the same.
Which, so, and I think that's what's so cool, right? You accept a role and then you're open to whatever you can learn. And I think it's so interesting. And I don't know, I'm generalizing here, but it seems, women do tend to like sort of pump the brakes when they're like unsure about it, oh, I'm not quite sure how to do that. So when it comes to looking at roles, and I am someone who has been so guilty of this throughout my career, being like, oh, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not even going to apply, or, I'm not even going to try to that project because it seems, I don't want to like get in over my head. But, kind of what imposter syndrome or kind of what did you do to talk yourself into being like, all right, I'm going to just, I'm diving in, I'm going to figure this out. Like, what was your headspace like as you navigated your career?
I took a step back and I was just totally vulnerable. And, we talk about self-improvement books, right? So we think about Brene Brown, vulnerability. Yeah. I was just so honest about where I was, like what type of learner I was, and said, I take a look at the big picture. So I said, as long as I understand the signal flow, when you're speaking like tech terms, I'm like, as long as I understand the signal flow of how everything is connected, I can troubleshoot, I can backstep, and then I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that was appealing, to whoever I was interviewing with. They were like, okay, yeah. But then, when I fast forward and I look at like, the process stuff, it's the same thing. It's like an activity diagram.
Right.
So I'm no longer working with like hardware. anymore for troubleshooting. Now I'm looking at process work, with an activity diagram. So it's still the same thing.
Right.
And I was just talking to an engineer not too long ago, or one of our consultants, technical consultants, and they're like, that's really interesting. And I'm like, yeah. So if I look at the big picture, as I'm going through ServiceNow and I'm learning the different modules, I'm trying to do an analysis comparison. This is how my mind thinks.
Right.
A parallel. I'm trying to, think about things in parallel, and then I'm, just working my way backwards and figuring it out, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And he's like, that makes a lot of sense.
It's amazing what happens when you can just, take it, again, your point, take a step back and just be like, okay, what are we trying to do here? What's the end goal? And then you kind of math your way into how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so let's talk about, women, whether you're graduating college or technical school, or you're jumping into IT, just, cannonballing in. What would you say, and we're talking to anyone, doesn't have to be women, doesn't have, just you are new to the IT world. What advice do you have for someone who is just trying to figure out if they're the right fit for IT, and on top of that, what they can do to make themselves feel like they're doing the right thing, or take on the challenges of learning how to succeed?
Yeah. I would say evaluate where your strengths are. Are you a hands-on learner? Are you someone who likes to read more? Are you more academic? And then think about, are you a better user of a system? Are you someone who likes to fix things? Because that'll tell you what type of career path you should probably start exploring within IT, whether that's in software, or are you going to be more on the engineer side, fixing things, coding things, or are you going to be more in the, on the analytical side, or, documentation, technical writing side of it? Because, like I said, there's so many new roles that are popping up now where these roles, I don't think they were there before. For example, the technical writing, if you're a good writer, that's really all you need, right? If you're good in English, that's all you need, because you have your subject matter experts to help you write the documentation.
Yeah.
So
I want to. I hate to interrupt you, but I just want to stop you there and just really send that message home that Sandra has just said so many different roles and so many different strengths, and that's all IT. You can apply whatever your strengths are and still be considered in the IT field. And I think that it just really apply. I think that's why I fell in love with IT, because it's a very similar path to customer success, where you may, like me, I love being the front lines. I like talking to customers. So I've always been in sort of customer success management, if you will. But you've just said 5 or 6 other roles where you don't have to talk to people and still be really successful in the IT space. Mm-hmm. So I just I hate to interrupt you, but I just wanted to pause and really hit that point home, that IT has grown so much, and that there are roles for any, whether personality type, strengths, what you care to do, who you care to interact with, and I think that's just hyper important. But I apologize for interrupting.
No, because I don't think, and I think that's where, when people start to explore what they want to do before they invest in their education, I think that's where we lack. I think if they were to see a roadmap of IT and all of the different career paths that are out there now, you don't really start to understand what career options are out there until you start to get into your first job and your work experience. You're like, oh, you know what? I really do enjoy documenting this. Oh, there's a career path for that?
Totally.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I haven't seen that. And I only say that from personal experience, because had I known that a business process architect or a business process consultant role had existed, I would have started down that path a long time ago. But I think that, like, our work, we always find our passion by mistake. Like, every experience we have in our work life, or in our, just our personal experiences, is a stepping stone to something greater. And I think that's, it hits home. But it's still so important that, we're aware of the different options that are available to us in IT, because it's still something you're investing in, right? You're still spending so much money in your education.
Right.
So it's important to know, am I going to get the best return on my investment?
Yeah. Oh, that makes total sense. And I hate that this live stream is only 15 minutes. I say this every week that I have to host, but I have to say it again because we have come up on our 15 minutes. So Sandra, tell people, I've got your LinkedIn posted so people can LinkedIn friend you, whatever the term is. But tell people where they can find you. You've shared with me some incredible resources that we're going to share when we post this to the YouTube channel. But is there any place that people can go? Anything you want to just sort of final words on if you're sort of getting ready to dive into the IT space, or there's that job you want to apply to and you're just not sure? Any final thoughts or advice that you would give?
Yeah, there's a website called O*Net, and if you go there, in fact, we can put it in the chat if you want. I can send it
I'll
to
share
you.
It. Yep.
To have it shared. But if you want to go there, you can explore the different occupations that are out there in IT, because not only does it tell you what occupations are out there, it tells you what salary ranges, different skills and sets that you're going to need. So that's a really helpful tool. But then also, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I work for Thirdera, so you can check that out as well.
Yes, and please go.
They're always hiring it too. So
I have talked to Sandra now a couple times. Please go talk to her. She is just, it's so great to talk to you. You will learn a lot. I highly recommend it. Her LinkedIn is posted sort of below me over here. Go friend her, and I promise you won't be disappointed. I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. I sound like whatever, but I cannot thank you enough for taking the time, and I wish we had more time to continue chatting, and I hope you'll come back and chat with us again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
You. Bye.